Alex, what year were you born?
2001.
The last time the Vikings beat the Patriots and Belichick was 2000. Vikings over the Patriots, Thanksgiving Day. Get some turkey.
Fortunately, the turkey that I had was not as dry as the turkey that Thielen spit out on TV.
That was one of the best interviews I've ever seen.
It was hilarious. When JJ couldn't even eat it because of his grill. That was awesome.
And that's why I made this shirt today. The Kirk Cousins thinks he has to call his dentist to get some grills. Oh, it's cute.
I saw on another podcast he was on he had a bunch of like dentists across the country reaching out to him to try to like get him fitted for a grill or whatnot.
That's amazing. I would assume you go to a jewelry store. I've never bought grills, but I can't imagine like if I called up my local dentist, is that really who you buy grills from?
I have no idea. I think it's like a collaboration between like a jeweler and a dentist. I don't know.
Okay. As I figured anybody can make a mold of my teeth. I could do it in Play-Doh, I feel like, right now if I really needed to. But
I'm sure
anyway,
they have I'm sure they have a website you can go to and get a grill, Cole.
I'm sure. Do you think we're going to see Lil Kirko chains be renamed as Lil Kirko grills eventually here? He said that's the next step.
I think he's going to stick to the chains, yeah.
Yeah, I think the chain rolls better off the tongue.
Yeah. All right, well, jump right into it. Did KOC, we talked a lot about it on our last podcast, did he out-coach the almighty Belichick? What do you think, Josh?
I mean, it was a battle. They both played a good game. It was closer than I thought. But yeah, I think ultimately we did win. We came out on top. I think KOC figured him out.
Yeah, it felt like a very close battle. It felt back and forth the whole game. Like there was never really any point where the game felt over. And I think that's what you're going to get when you have two great coaches going at it.
And not just in this game, but like other games in the NFL, actually, with the Patriots too. But it's coming down to special teams a lot, and their special teams plays. It's been pretty crazy.
It has, for sure, and we'll get into that, no doubt. But Jefferson, oh my gosh, dude! If KOC was like, just throw to Jefferson every time, think he could catch every single ball? My goodness.
Probably close. He had that crazy catch in the fourth quarter, which was insane. Like, I have no idea how he held on to that. Like, two defenders, like, hit hard as he was catching it, still brought it down. Like, I have no idea. But he had another amazing catch in the second quarter. I think it was like 5 minutes left. He had that one. Pretty much the same situation. He was double covered, caught it while he was falling somehow. So yeah, he's so strong, and he could just bring anything down.
There's clearly a huge trust factor there. Would you agree, Alex, between him and Kirk now?
Oh, 100%. They are firing on all cylinders, and there's no hiccups in their game.
Does Cousins, does he get credit for how good Jefferson has been, or is it vice versa? Who's kind of, is it a team effort, or is Jefferson just that good no matter who's at quarterback? Could I throw the ball to him? Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I don't know about that, but I think it's kind of hard to say because like sometimes QBs like they look like they're throwing a bad pass, but really they're on a different level and they're just like putting it in the only place where like a defender is not going to pick it off and they're hoping their receiver is going to catch it. So, it's probably a little bit of both, but I think JJ gives him like a lot more confidence throwing it in those spaces, and he's got a little more wiggle room,
Well, do you guys think, speaking of Kirk, does this actually prove that, he's a primetime Kirk now? I mean, he was only sacked one time. It was Blake Brandel. Did a pretty good job stepping in for Darrisaw. Hopefully we see him back, but if not, are you happy with Blake Brandel?
Well, I think the whole offensive line played a great game. I mean, he was barely touched, so.
They didn't trick him this time.
Brando looked great out there, but he's no Darrisaw. I think it'd be foolish to say that you're okay with him, whereas you're missing a generational guy at tackle. So,
yeah,
I think would much rather have Darrisaw.
Yeah, would you want him to be there this week, or do you want to rest him up and keep him healthy? I mean, concussion 2 in a row, that can be dangerous leading into playoffs.
Yeah, and they should be taking every precaution necessary to keep him healthy, but if he's ready to go, I would love to see him out there.
Well, you know who my favorite is to see out there? Mr. Minnesota, Mr. Adam Thielen with the game-winning touchdown in the fourth quarter. Can we just give him that title, Mr. Minnesota? I feel like we had Joe Mauer before, and now we've got Adam Thielen, right?
I mean, I think if anyone is going to be Mr. Minnesota, he's a good candidate on the Vikings for sure.
And he's out of Mankato, but speaking of a little south of that, Iowa Cyclone, little Kene Wanwu. My goodness, you spoke of the special teams earlier, but what do you think of Kene Wanwu? Have we finally seen him break out? It seems like he'd been in a little bit. He hadn't gotten a lot of really far runs this year.
Yeah, it was great to see him have that burst. I mean, you can see the potentials there, and to see it finally come together, I think is really cool. And I don't know if this is a flash in the pan or something that's going to pan out, but only time will tell.
There were some big special teams plays. That's what I was saying earlier. I mean, even I think it was in the first quarter or the second quarter, Patriots, Marcus Jones, he brought a kickoff back for, I think, to the 50-yard line or something like that. He had a big run. So, but yeah, no, that was in the second quarter, yeah. But yeah, some of the games are just coming down to special teams, which is kind of cool to see because when you think the game is over, something crazy happens on special teams.
Kind of seems like the Vikings know how to raise kickers. I mean, we got Cordero, now we got Nwanwu. My
kick returners, Cole.
What did I say? Kickers?
Kickers.
Oh, we do not know how to raise kickers.
No,
that is
yeah.
absolutely wrong. I mean, kick returners, because, I mean, if you look at the stats of Cordero Patterson and Nwanwu, dude, Kene already has 3 in his young career in just 41 returns, so 1 touchdown every 13.7 returns, where Cordero Patterson, who recently set the all-time kickoff record, right, he has 9 on 264 career returns, which is 1 every 29.3 returns. So 1 every 13.7 for Kene, 1 every 29.3 for Cordero. Does that, in your mind, do you think he's on pace to actually outdo Cordero, or are we a little early in his career?
Oh, well, he's on a super healthy pace to outdo him. It's just whether or not he can keep the pace up. I feel like that's going to be the biggest question going forward because a touchdown every 13.7 returns is unheard of. Like, that just does not happen. And, I mean, yeah, the Vikings have in the past been very prolific at the kick return position, looking back at Cordero and Percy Harvin, and I mean, the list goes on, and I think Nwanwu is just the next man in line, and my hope is that we can, not do what we did with Patterson and actually find a way to get him into the offense instead of just letting him be a kick returner.
Oh, that's...
Yeah. Cordero, he was like interesting because he was a receiver, running back, like they use him all over the place. He's really big and fast. So I don't know. We'll see. It's pretty like small sample size right now to judge off of, but.
Well, we also, may have a little LeBron James, maybe Joel Embiid would have been proud watching this game, watching Ryan Wright on that punt just flop, man, in a big spot too. What's your thoughts on that? Was it a flop? Or did he really get hit?
No, I mean, in fairness, there was some contact there, but
he may have sold it a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but the call went the right way, and then we scored off of it, which was nice. So
it was an absolutely pivotal play in the game. I mean, we were fourth quarter tie game. We punt that ball away. It's a completely different ball game, and getting that penalty, keeping that drive alive, letting Thielen get down there and score that touchdown, that's huge. That was a game-changing play.
Yep.
I actually, there is something weirdly that you brought up, Brian, right? Because I noticed something during the game that I was just kind of like, really? Like, what is going on here? And it was like during a timeout, they're all on the field, and like everyone's out there, and they're all drinking water. And I see someone make like a special trip to the punter, Ryan Wright, so he can get water. And he takes the water bottle, takes some water, and hands it back. And they start like heading off the field. And I'm just like, dude, you're on the sideline for 99% of the game. You have like ample time to be taking sips of water. Like, why do you need to take a sip of water while you're out on the field waiting to punt? Like, did that help you? I don't know. It just seemed very high maintenance to me. I don't know. Like, I don't think anyone should be giving him water on the field, basically. Sorry.
You should have been prepared
Ryan.
out there.
Yeah. Like, you have so much time to be drinking water on the sideline during the game. game. I don't think the 8 plays you're on the field for. I mean, and that's a bad game if you're out there 8 plays punting. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think you needed that water. I think you're being a little high maintenance.
Was it a woman that brought him the water? Do you remember?
It was like, leave her alone,
Yes.
man.
She's a friend of mine, actually, Miranda. She played basketball with my wife in high school, which is crazy.
Well, maybe
went
she
to
can pass this along
a
to him and
competitor's
just say,
high school.
hey, man, drink
Stop
your water on
giving
the
Ryan
sideline.
water.
We'll make sure we send her a message and let her know. But yeah, when I see her on the sidelines, I'm like, there's Miranda. Oh my goodness. But you know who needs to spend maybe a little bit more time on the sidelines? Maybe it's Greg Joseph. I'm getting a little tired. I know you want to keep the faith, right? But he's missed 5 extra points already this year, and I'm not exactly sure how many over 50 yards, multiple over 50 yards. But everybody comes back to, oh, he hasn't missed any under 50 yards. Is it another Vikings kicker type season that's going to blow this for us, or do you got faith in Greg Joseph?
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be missing extra points. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand like maybe 1 or 2, I don't know, during a season, but 5 is quite a bit. And I don't know. Maybe he needs to be drinking more water.
Maybe she needs to be bringing him.
Maybe
one of those bottles.
he's dehydrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is there really anyone else, Alex, you could go get? Like, what can you do if he isn't?
No, not really. At this point, I think we're just kind of have to ride it out and hope for the best. And but I'm not too worried. I mean, it's 5 extra points missed is definitely concerning, but I feel like he's been so consistent for longer distances that it's like, you know what, I'm willing to take that risk. I think he'll figure it out. I'm not panicking yet.
Well, it doesn't seem like KOC is either, so that's good, because we've seen past coaches just completely turn on the kicker in press conferences, and that's obviously not good for mental health of a kicker when they have one job, and it's not that easy.
Kickers, it's like 95% mental. It's such a mental battle, so keeping that in mind is super important.
If there was like if some kicker on another team right now is like sent to waivers, or if there was actually some good free agent kickers out there right now, I don't think he'd have a job. But
yeah.
Well, but who knows? KOC is different. Like maybe he's behind the scenes saying no, like, I believe in this guy. Like, let's just stick with him for the season. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe he's getting all those missed kicks out of the way. Get it out of the way. Well, it doesn't matter as much as it does when it comes January and February, but we'll see.
Were you guys that they're
were you guys impressed with the Vikings defense, or was it quite a disappointment to see them they allowed 427 yards to the Patriots? I mean, yes, we won, but 26 points, that's not ideal.
No, I think if you look at the stats, like it looks like Mac Jones had like this great game, but I mean, really, other than like 2 long touchdowns we let up, they just kicked field goals, and I mean, yeah, there was a couple big plays down the field. There was a big play to Devontae Parker down the field. He caught it on like the 5 or something, or the 7, and like we held him to a field goal there. So I mean,
yep.
I think the defense played pretty well.
Yeah, it's not fun watching Mac Jones throw for 382 on you, but yeah, like Josh said, there was a lot of plays where the defense did come up and show up, and I'm not pressing the panic button. I feel fine about it.
Yeah, and they definitely shut down the run too. They only allowed 45 yards, which is good to see. And thankfully, that one touchdown was not a touchdown. The whole time that was going on, I was in an argument with my dad at Thanksgiving, and he's like, "That's a touchdown." I'm like, "No, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter if you think it's a touchdown. The rule is that touched the ground, that Hunter Henry drop catch, because that 100% grazed the ground. I think it was the right call. Do you guys agree?"
No.
You think it was a catch?
It looked like he crossed the plane and kept possession of it as he came down. Like, yes, it did touch the ground, but he still had full control over it, so I feel like it was a touchdown.
But it popped out of his hands after it hit the ground. That was my thought.
Yeah, but he made a football move crossing the goal line. Like, I don't know.
That's true. He did make a move to the goal line, so that's hard to say. But are there any other issues that you guys saw with the defense, and do you have any solutions? What do you see from the Patriots game in the D?
Wait,
of our defense?
Oh, on our
RD.
defense?
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
no. Other than those like few long balls that we let up, I mean, we played pretty solid.
Yeah, I'd say the only other thing I was kind of concerned about, looking back at last week too, and this week, the receiving game from the running backs has been kind of killing us. Stevenson had quite a
Yep.
handful of catches and was pretty efficient, and up obviously against Cowboys, Pollard torched us in the air. So I think that's something we really have to focus on. That's really on our linebackers to contain that. So I think that would be my key going forward.
Yeah, Stevenson definitely had a good game. He had 9 receptions for 76 yards, 7 carries for 36 yards. So, I mean, he got way more touches than anyone else on their team on both rushing and receiving. So, holding him to 100 yards, though, do you feel like
But
was
it's
that
like
kind
Mac
of the game
Jones. Like,
plan?
well, you look at the stats. Like, it looks like Mac Jones had a great game, but I mean, it looks like
Yeah.
he's just getting volume. Like, he just gets the ball a lot, so he's going to put up numbers. But we didn't let him score.
That's true.
So
Lord
Well, on
knows
the flip
what
side,
kind of numbers he could put up if they just fully gave him the ball and not split time with Damian Harris, because that'd
yeah.
be crazy.
Well, on the flip side, we talked a ton about Matthew Judon coming into the game. Where was he? I mean, I don't think he didn't have any sacks. He had maybe 2 QB hits. He was pretty silent. They shut him down,
Yeah.
I think.
he had, I think, I mean, yeah, he's definitely scary, but I think he only had one tackle, like one tackle on his own. He had no tackles
Really?
for a loss the whole game. So, there, other than the interception at the beginning, I think when Kirk Cousins threw that interception to Jonathan Jones, I mean, that was their biggest defensive play. But
Yeah, he was pretty quiet. Didn't really feel like he was making an impact on the game, and I'm curious if that's more us game planning away from him or him just not getting involved. For who knows?
Yep. And Josh, you mentioned the interception. Does that worry you that he's throwing interceptions? Because it kind of feels like to me, he's thrown, I think, 9 interceptions now this year, Kirk Cousins. And in the past, he wasn't throwing as many. So, like last year, he didn't throw as many interceptions right as he's at right now. But does it feel like he's actually going for it? He's actually throwing some extra balls. What do you guys think?
I don't even remember who he was targeting on that interception. I don't remember if it was just
I
like a
don't remember
bad throw or
It was tipped,
I think-
wasn't it?
what.
I think it was
Like-
tipped, yeah.
Like it wasn't Kirk's fault on the interception. I don't think it was, at least.
Yeah. It wasn't straight into his hands like some of his interceptions he's had this year.
No,
Straight
and
to
I
the
think
D.
I feel like this year we're seeing a much more aggressive Kirk Cousins, one that's not scared to attack downfield, throwing balls 15 plus yards out. And when you play like that, interceptions are going to come. That's just what's going to happen. So I'm okay with the increase in interceptions this year. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah. He can throw those like we were talking about earlier. He can throw those like really scary balls to JJ, and he'll somehow find a way to come down with it. So
Yeah, he can definitely throw some dimes, it seems like, this year for sure. And in the past, Mike Zimmer just really wouldn't let him do that, it felt like. And KOC, I think, is opening up his game. That's what I feel. Do you guys think, you got any thoughts on the Jets game that's coming up this weekend? Any predictions? What do you think, Alex?
I really hope we get to see Zach Wilson and not Mike White, because he stinks.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to start Zach Wilson though. I think they're riding the Mike White train at this point because that's what the fans want to see.
Well, I mean, he's looked great in all the action he's been in. So it's like, if I'm the Jets, I want Mike White as my starter. Wilson's been terrible this season, and
Mike White had that. Yeah. Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I don't know. Last week, White looked great against. Who did they play? The Bears.
Yep.
He had a great game against the Bears, and you look back to last season, what he was doing. Kind of gave a shot of life into a really bleak and bad Jets team. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can keep that going, and if the Vikings can slow him down at all.
Yeah, the Vikings D better than the Bears D, but he threw for I think 315 yards. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So
Yeah. I don't think Elijah Moore wants to trade as bad now, hopefully, as he did earlier in the season. You know, I don't know about you guys also. It was a first for me this weekend. I was sitting at home cheering for the Packers. Was I alone? Because I definitely want those home games in that bye. So I don't see the Packers as a threat anymore.
I mean, I like to see the Packers
So
lose.
disappointed in you, Cole.
Yeah.
I like to see the Eagles lose. Like, if there was
I
a way
really
they
wanted
could
to see the Eagles lose. Yeah.
You know, a tie would have been
nice.
perfect.
Yeah, that would have been ideal. Give them not a win, but also, yeah. But they lost, so we're still tied with the Eagles. Hopefully we can clinch the division possibly this weekend. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll have another podcast coming up this week to preview the Jets-Vikings game. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. We'll answer your questions in our next video. Follow us at Hot Dish Sports. Skol Vikes.